Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another AITA story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Threatening to Kick Out Stepdaughter for Stealing from Daughter? 4 years ago, my wife passed away due to breast cancer, leaving me 42 male and my daughters 19 female and 17 female behind. 1.5 years ago, I met Vicky, 47 female, and we quickly fell in love. Vicky has a daughter, Heather, 24 female, and together they came to live with us. Vicky and I did not get married, however, so Heather isn't technically my stepdaughter. Almost from the beginning, Heather wasn't very nice towards me, to say the least. I tried to get to know her and at least establish a cordial relationship, but nothing worked. She was very disrespectful and hateful to me, but also to her mother. Heather also picked verbal fights with my daughters, but I squashed that soon after it happened. Heather was the instigator, and I told her that if she had a problem, she should direct it at me instead of at my daughters. It seemed to work. Last week was Casey's, my eldest daughter's, 19th birthday. I gave her a spa package treatment for 2 persons, total $500, in the form of a gift card, and told her she could pick another person to go with. She chose her younger sister, who was happy to go. They would pick a date and make the reservation. Casey wanted to make the reservation 2 days ago, but couldn't find the gift card. After hours of searching, we couldn't find it. When Heather came home, we asked if she had seen it. She told us she didn't. Go ahead and use this right now. After another hour, Vicky found the gift card in Heather's room, against Heather's protests. After a while, Heather admitted she took the card from Casey's room and went to the spa 2 days ago with her girlfriend. I was pissed and told her that if she didn't pay Casey $500, I would kick her out. Since Heather doesn't have a job and has dropped out of college, she says she can't pay it. She has been living at my house rent-free with everything paid for. I told her that if she can't pay for it, she should go live with her deadbeat father instead. She called me every name in the book and locked herself in her room. Vicky says it was an asshole move, since she has nowhere to go and her father won't pay for her to live with him. So, am I the asshole? Edit. Update as of just a few days ago. Quite some people have been asking me for an update. Considering it's been a rough week and only now things are calming down, I thought I'd write an update. I sat down with my daughters and had a long conversation about Heather, my relationship with Vicky, and how I'd let it go up to this point. In short, my daughters have, for a long time, hated Heather. They didn't have any problems with Vicky, only regarding how Vicky always lets Heather easily off the hook. I read many comments and I started doubting my relationship with Vicky. I knew it wasn't perfect, but I thought we loved each other. My daughters are of the opinion that Vicky never loved me, but that I also never really loved Vicky. Especially, Casey thought it was more companionship that we shared and that I was lonely. Damn, my daughter hit the nail on the head. She was right. I didn't want to spoil my daughter's day to the spa and paid for it so that they could still go. They went a few days ago and had a blast. Regarding Heather, I essentially kicked her out. Vicky threatened to leave if I kicked Heather out, and I told Vicky she was free to go as well. After that, she quickly backpedaled and told me she didn't want to go. Heather made a fuss, but I let her take her stuff and she moved out within 2 days. She is temporarily staying with a girlfriend of hers. I told Vicky that if Heather didn't pay the $500 back, we were going to call the police and report her. Vicky was horrified and called her parents. I was surprised by this, but Vicky told me she had had a bad relationship with her parents. As far as I know, her parents gave her the $500 and she gave the $500 to me. After this, I was about to have a difficult conversation with Vicky and wanted to tell her we are over, but she beat me to it. She told me that I treated Heather like shit because I was threatening to call the police and she couldn't live with that. I was relieved and it probably showed, prompting Vicky to call me out asking if I was going to try to make it up to her and convince her to stay. I told her no. After this, and a lot of screaming on Vicky's part, she also left. She is staying with a married couple that are close friends with her. It took a bit more time and energy to move her stuff to her friend's house. While I was there helping to move her stuff, I was essentially ignored, so I have no idea what Vicky told them. Today is the first day of peace and quiet in my house, and I already noticed that my daughters are a lot happier. That's all that matters to me. I want to thank everyone for their posts and weighing in. Holy shit. Okay, so the question was, am I the astronaut for threatening to kick out stepdaughter for stealing from my daughter? We don't know how long they were living there, so we can't speak to that part, but it was a 1.5 years that they met each other, sometime in between there, let's say a year, just to throw a number out there. So what are the potential paths here? They've been living together a year or less, and you know that she stole from your daughter. What options do you have? If you were going to treat this like a blended family and treat everybody equally, then you'd have to make sure that you were doing the same thing for her that you would do for your daughter if she had stolen from her, which obviously wouldn't happen in this case, but you just have to make sure that you would give equal treatment there. In this case, she was busted for it, lied about it. You had to be a hard ass to get her to come clean in the first place, and even after that, it's completely unacceptable. All that you asked her to do was replace what she took. That was it. It was replace what you took, or you can't stay here, which is really reasonable, right? She's 24. By 24, you know that's not okay, and also at 24, you need to be prepared to not live at home at some point if you're not going to school. Nothing's going on for her at all. She was just being a leech sitting at home. So much so that anything she got, she just took from people. So who knows what else she took here? This was going to keep continuing. You had to create a boundary. And in this case, it had to be a very firm boundary and a harsh one. And she came up with the money somehow, but that doesn't mean that she came back, because enlightened throughout this process, he realized that he wasn't in love with Vicky. Wow. I mean, it is good. It is a happy ending because he now has the opportunities, not in this toxic scenario, which wasn't just toxic because of Heather, but Heather certainly exacerbated it. She made it even worse. And that obviously creates a lot of stress in a relationship, but that's also when you find out how people cope. Candy Thunder and I were talking about this earlier today. In relationships, especially new ones, you get past that year mark, that honeymoon phase, and shit starts getting real. When shit starts getting real, you start finding out how people cope. And sometimes it's not a healthy way to do that. It doesn't sound like either one of you were addressing problems here until it was too late, which sucks. If there was a chance to save this relationship, these conversations would have had to happen way earlier, but it didn't. They got to the place where it was just like, well, I guess we're done. And it sucks to see that happen. Maybe there was a chance earlier on, but Heather wasn't helping the situation. Not at all. So the question is, am I the asshole for threatening to kick out my stepdaughter for stealing from my daughter? No, not the asshole for that. NTA for that. You had to do something drastic. Otherwise, this behavior was going to keep going. And pain creates change. You had to create enough pain for this to matter. If it was something easy, she would have just done it again. It had to be something that caused enough pain to try to prevent the behavior from happening ever again. Even if you and Vicky had stayed together, this was the right move. But there's a reason Heather is the way she is, and Vicky having such a problem with this tells you everything you need to know, bro. Everything. NTA. It's rough, but you're better off, and now you're in a place where you can enjoy your family.